everybody, welcome to Evening TV. Alright, so today I wanted to talk to you about anger. And I have a little bit of a different philosophy on anger, I think, maybe than a lot of people do. And that's because I know how difficult it was for me to get angry and what an important thing it was once I did get there. I was depressed for years. And this was before even the discard. I was just depressed and didn't know why. I did not know why. Now I would know why now because I was being really abused, but I didn't recognize the abuse then. Then it was like my life, like all the things of my life looked just right, so I couldn't figure out why I was depressed. And it wasn't until it all manifested into this heart attack that I had at 33 years old. And then I was swiftly abandoned by my husband, my parents, my brother, and some of my oldest friends. That I went, oh, this is why I was so sad. Even before it had happened, I sensed on some level that it was possible, that it could happen. I wasn't safe, and I sensed that. And I know that I sensed it because I would never allow myself to, I could never be sick. I could never have anything wrong. I always had to be fine. When you're surrounded by narcissists, one thing you know is that they don't have time for you to have anything wrong with you. And so I always had to be, act like I was completely fine and I, something could ever be wrong with me, which was, for the most part okay because I was a healthy person and all of that. And what I told myself too was I told myself that because I have never cried wolf, because I'm, basically a really tough person and I never ask for any help. I'm never wimpy. I'm never a hypochondriac. I'm never anything. That I never have any false illnesses or anything. Like even when I do have a real illnesses, I don't ask for help. So what I told myself was that this was like a savings account that I was saving up, and that if I ever did actually come out and ask anybody for help, ask my husband or my parents or people for help, that they would know that I really needed it because they would know how stoic I am, and that this must be really serious because she doesn't just come asking for help unless something's really wrong. This is what I told myself. So when I have this heart attack, which is undeniably serious, and you think to yourself, that's undeniably serious, they can't possibly blame me for this. I was totally wrong. They absolutely could blame me for it, and did blame me for it, and could ignore it, and basically what it is if people are nurturing and they love you and they care about you, they're going to love you and care about you before you're having a heart attack. Other times when other things happened, I would have seen it, and so I didn't think when I had this heart attack, I'm not thinking that I'm going to get more of what I've always seen. I'm thinking I'm going to, now they're going to know, that I need their help. And they acted the same as they always did. In fact, they acted worse because, this is what they used to abandon me. Basically abandon me afterwards. But even after all that, I didn't get angry. I was just sad. I was sad for a long time. Even through the divorce, I wasn't getting angry. I was just devastated. I was just absolutely devastated and betrayed and just dumbfounded and confused and just flabbergasted. It was like every other kind of emotion. But I wasn't angry. So when you go through narcissistic abuse, you go through something as devastating as all this, when that anger comes along, that is a sign of progress. That is a sign of healing, and it is essential for you to save yourself. That anger changed everything. When I got angry, I got active. I got motivated. I got creative. It completely changed me, and it was such a relief. The anger felt infinitely better than all that sadness did, than all that fear did, than all that confusion did. It felt so much better, and it got me to where it motivated me. Now, the thing that the thing that you be cautious with anger is you want to be careful that when anything you have, whether it's sadness, anger, confusion, any of it, whatever you do, what you don't want to do is acting on yourself, which depression kind of is anger turned inward. But you don't want to do things that are just going to make things worse, and you don't want to do anything with them. You don't want to go to your abusers with your anger, because they don't care about your anger. It's just going to feed them supply, and you're just going to make yourself look bad. You're going to give yourself things to, it's not going to move you, it's not going to move things forward with them at all. And it's just going to give you ways to feel like you've lost power, or you've lost, they love it. They love to see that they've upset you. They love all that. So you don't want to give them that. You don't want to hurt yourself if if you've got any kind of court proceedings going on, anything going on with kids, anything like that. You don't want to do anything. And you certainly don't want to do things where they're going to go, see what I told you about her. I did some of those things not in anger. I did some of those things in sadness and desperation. I did some desperate things, turned it on myself, and made myself just look nuts. That there's a lot about, good girls and good, nice guys don't get angry, and this is really deeply ingrained in us. And good girls and nice guys are also the ones that tend to end up in this position with these narcissists. There are a few different times when I got angry, and the anger saved me. I'm talking, I have a long fuse. It took me a long time to get angry, but when I did, I saved myself. I realized that I had been still waiting for my husband, my father, my brother to come through for me or my kids. I mean, obviously a friend or my mother or anybody, but and I just realized no one is coming. No one is coming. Those are the words that trigger this memory to me, was no one is coming. Something happened, and with all that, I changed my name. I dyed my hair red. I'm naturally blonde. I started a business, an online business, and it became very successful. I saved myself. And I was, within a shorter time than it took him to bring me down, I was back up. I was buying a house. I was at a new car. And he had taken me down. I was down so far. I didn't even have a car to drive. I was basically squatting in the place I was living in. It was bad. That's how far it took me down. And it took me less time than that to build myself back up. And it was anger was where it started. And when I got, finally one day, I remember, I just put some money down on this house. And I looked around. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. I looked around for some hero that I could thank, and there was no one there but me. Here's the thing. No one's coming. You should get angry, because what happened to you shouldn't have happened. No one had the right to treat you the way that you did. No one had, this shouldn't have happened to you. Get angry on your own behalf. Get as angry as you would if someone did this to your kid or something, because here's the other thing. I got angry again. When my son died. And the trick is to make anger work for you. Don't let it eat you up. Don't let it destroy you. Make it work for you. So that's what happened. When my son died, I had that same anger come back up. And I knew now, because I was a little bit familiar with anger, I knew that it was saving me from devastating sadness. I knew that it was, and I was grateful for it. I almost hung on to it a little bit. I didn't want, because I felt like I was going to be able to get through it okay. I was going to be able to deal with my son dying. Actually, what I thought, it didn't work. It hasn't gone exactly the way I thought. And some things have been harder as time's gone on. And I do have sadness. I do definitely have sadness. But what's keeping me ambulatory is the anger. Truly. And what's making it so that I can see a vision. You know, I can see like things I can do, like what I can do with what's happened, what can become of it. And is the anger. Because I am really angry that this happened to my son. I'm not saying, you know, I don't know that if my son had a perfect life and a perfect childhood, that he wouldn't have still gone and used heroin, he wouldn't have still been the same person. I don't know that. But I'm angry about that. I'm angry that I don't know that. Because I always told myself when I had these kids, I told myself that I was gonna protect them, and I was gonna give them I was going to keep them safe, and I was going to give them a good life. And I knew even then, even as I was saying that, I thought, if then they do something, if then they're jerks or they're criminals or they're drug addicts or they're whatever, I will know at least I did all that I knew to do. At least I'll know I didn't harm them. I'm angry because I don't get to say that, you know? If we ended up right in the same exact place, but I had given my son the very best that I could possibly give him, the best I knew to give him, I would feel a lot better about it than I do. I feel like it was preventable that my ex-husband and our family created a totally unbearable situation for him to try and live in. And my son that survived, I really hope he gets angry. I really do. There are people who die of heroin overdoses that had loving parents and loving families and had everything going for them. There are. But my son wasn't one of them. And that's what I'm angry about, because I loved him. I loved him with all my heart. I was a good mom. The anger is what gets you active and gets you motivated and gets you so that you can save your life. Some of these things are so devastatingly sad that that anger is so welcome, and it will take with it, this is the thing too that is really great, is the anger will take with it the depression and the sadness, and it will be gone. You know, I don't know, so much with my son this is a little bit different, but with the other, you know, I was so depressed for so long, and then once I got angry, I was never sad again. I was never sad again. Kind of a sadness, it's like I feel sorry for them, that kind of sadness, but no deep, you know, just devastating sadness on my own behalf. You get conditioned. I am super conditioned about really hard things. I mean, things that, you know, maybe what things that have happened with like one of my best friends recently, you know, 20 years ago maybe would have just crushed me. But, you know, I'm not really, pretty indestructible now, you know, and not afraid of anything. These are blessings, and if you can say that you have blessings, you're within a year of losing your son, maybe you're doing okay, you know. So that's my 2 cents about anger, is that the anger is part of the healing process. And anger is a sign that you are on the road to recovery. You know, don't stuff it down. Let it come, because you'll find all kinds of creativity in that anger. You will. There's sort of an emotional scale that you move up. And sadness is way down from anger. So you don't want to move back down the scale, but anger is a big leap from sadness. And hopelessness, those are way down there. Grief, hopelessness, sadness, those are really, really down there. Anger is a much better place to be. It's where you can start taking care of yourself and being your own hero. Because, you know, your story needs a hero. These stories need heroes, you know, and that hero's going to have to be you. And then you're going to be able to come up with ways to save yourself. When you start getting angry, you start not wanting to be defeated. You start wanting to, like, not let them win. Find a way to save yourself. Find a way to make something of all this mess. So, here's to anger. All right, you guys. Thanks a lot. Please subscribe. Give me a thumbs up and write some comments. Okay, thanks a lot. Bye-bye.